Alright, time to get cancelled again. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Opinion Corner, where this time I fixed my mic. So now the game shouldn't be completely awful. Oh, and it's also a show where I sit in front of a mic and talk about whatever is on my mind today. So Wave 3 of the Booster Course Pass has finally come out, and as is tradition, I will be ranking all 8 of them with a score from 1 to 10, explaining my thoughts, my first impressions, because my thoughts on Wave 2 have definitely changed a lot the more I played them. I definitely have a much stronger opinion on Mushroom Gorge now that I can play it. Because I think I scored that like a 7, 7.5, but now I think it's like an 8, 8.5 now. And maybe I'll give it an 8 because with the way the mushrooms work in this game, it's very weird. Especially if you're not doing mushroom bounces, it can definitely feel very strange. Yeah, so that's my new upgraded thoughts on Mushroom Gorge. Well, I guess it's not like first thoughts anymore because it's been out for like 4 or 5 months now. In any case, let's jump right into the rankings. Once again, mandatory like and subscribe thing. And yeah, with that being said, let's start with Tour London Loop, which is the first tour track that I've kind of just jumped in blind, so I didn't know what to expect, and I was pleasantly surprised. The track is a lot of fun. I'm really happy with how lengthy the track feels. I think they've definitely buffed it. There's a lot more things to do than for stuff like Paris Promenade and Tokyo Blur. I think all the stuff that you can see and do and all the little variations help make the track feel fresh. I'm actually pretty surprised with how much I liked it. The layout's quite nice too. There's a couple weird things about it. Like in lap 1, there's this really weird zigzag section that I thought was kind of strange, but I actually like the remix a lot more than the original tour version. I always found the tour version felt short, a bit bland, very heavy on the electric guitar, but the deluxe version kind of like mellowed it down a bit, which I like a lot. So yeah, it's a fun track with lots of things to see, and the layout's pretty nice. 8 out of 10. Next is GBA Boo Lake, which I thought was really well executed with what they had to work with. It's a lot shorter than I thought it would be, but I really like the ideas that they implemented, as well as the way they handled it. This is the first track with an underwater section in the pass, so that's pretty cool. I really like the headlights on the above ground section, and then underwater it feels just as spooky, with the never-ending abyss staring back at you if you look down. It's a simple track, but it has a lot of ramps and variations to help the track feel interesting. Personally, if it was a bit longer, I would have given this a 9, but I'm gonna give this an 8.5 out of 10 anyway, because I like the ideas and the execution. Implementing the actual lake into the track is super cool, as well as keeping it spooky and fun. Definitely one of my favorites in the pass. Super Circuit fans have honestly been eating good this pass. Next is 3DS Rock Mountain, and the first thing I looked into was if the ramp was still there, because they removed the ramp in Tour, which isn't like a big deal since it's such a small part of the track, but I liked going off of it anyways just because it felt very unnatural on how high the ramp sent you, and it was one of my favorite parts of the track. And they kept it gone. It is still gone, it is removed. 0 out of 10. I'm disappointed in Nintendo. Jokes aside, it's a fine track. Not sure how it's going to be from a competitive bagging perspective, because it looks like the off-road is all there. I guess it'll depend on how useful it'll be risking the golden mushroom, maybe, because this is definitely like a golden mushroom cut. And you could probably like chain a star through it. I guess we'll just have to see how well it plays in competitive. So I will give this a 7.5 out of 10. Because the track itself is nice, I actually really like the idea. I think the layout's pretty fun and creative, and minus a whole point because of the ramp thing. But yeah, I had a lot of fun playing with this one, and I'm looking forward to play more of this online, maybe time trial it eventually. We'll see. Alright, this is it. Wii Maple Treeway. A lot of people did not like my take on the track in the first impressions video, which is fair. It's a very popular track. I expected as much. Being able to drive on a giant tree is pretty cool, and the aesthetics and colors are pretty nice too. The thing that hits it down so much for me is just how it plays in gameplay. With how inconsistent Maple Treeway is in Mario Kart Wii, and to an extent Mario Kart 7, it just doesn't hit as much for me, which is fine. Like, if you like it casually, that's totally okay. I've already made a video on the main channel where I kind of explain like all the things that I was looking for, some of the problems I had with the course, like some of the turns being really easy to fall off, and with some of the time trial strats, it can feel pretty annoying to drive on. I only paraphrased it since I already went through it once before, and I do want to keep this video positive because I actually do think they made a lot of good changes in this rendition of Maple Treeway, so I want to get to that. But if you're curious on like my other thoughts on the track and like in like a PvP time trial perspective, then the the video is going to be on the top right. So let's actually talk about the track in Mario Kart 8 now. So yeah, like I said, it actually surprised me with a lot of the changes that they made, and I thought a lot of them were pretty good. For starters, they made the shortcut easier to enter, which I think is probably partially because of the engine, but they made the opening a lot clearer, a lot better. I think that's a lot nicer. Definitely a big fan of that. The exit's a bit weird, it's a bit clunky, but I'm glad they at least made the opening better. I'll probably have to play around with it a bit more to see how rough the exit is. I don't know. They made the 2 turns of death narrower, which is kind of strange. They added off-road, so it's a bit harder to fall off, which I appreciate, but I wish they just kept like the curved in branch like they did with the turn right before it. They eased up the wiggler pathing a little bit, which I think is nice, but then they made the straightaway after the half pipe even smaller than in Wii, which I'm not sure how I feel, but I'm glad they added rails to the bridge as well as making it wider. That was one of my biggest gripes with the course, because in Wii it felt very easy to just get trapped there. If you're trading bumps with someone else beside you, you have the risk of falling off. It's a very stressful part of the course. And then the turn of death here kind of stayed the same. And then at the end of the track, they added these elevated routes outside of the ramps, which, I mean, I guess I see what they were going for. If you get trapped there or something, like in the footage, you get punished really hard though. So this is a change I'm also mixed on. But overall, I liked a lot of the changes that they made to the course, though they also made some strange choices at the same time. But for now, I'm pretty impressed. 7 out of 10. Next is Tour Berlin Byways, which the layout itself is fine. I thought it was fun. I like the little traffic section. But bro, what did they do to the remix? I don't know if I'm the only one who feels this way or if there's something other people felt, but this remix hits a lot less than the original tour version. Like, the drop feels so much more mellow, which is kind of sad because this is one of the biggest things that I was looking forward to when I saw this track was coming back. Or I guess really excited to hear. And this is like the thing people talked about Berlin Byways for. The track itself is fine, the music is also fine. I think it helped that the final lap buffed it a bit. Making it faster definitely helped a lot, but it's fine. The last lap is a bit short compared to the first 2, which is definitely noticeable, but I'm gonna give Tour Berlin Byways a 7 out of 10. DS Peach Gardens impressed me. The visuals are so good, and it fits Peach so much more. The track actually feels like a royal garden, and a lot of people put in the comments, which I appreciate. So yeah, they added a lot more topiaries of the characters in the course, which I felt like breathed a lot more life into it, and I was really happy to see that the cut pretty much stayed untouched. They made the layout a lot more accessible, I feel, and I think this is a good change because it helps make the course feel more playable, instead of needing to take the turns weirdly or wide to get the sharpest angle in between the flowers. And then I got jumped by the path change at the end, which I thought was really funny. This was such a huge upgrade in every aspect. Gameplay-wise, visually, I am a big fan of this rendition of the course. This is a 9.5 out of 10, the first one. This is definitely my favorite one in the past, for sure. Well, at least at the moment. And now another course from the one track that I wanted to see come back from each game video, Tour Merry Mountain. It's just nice to see the course again. I think this is my favorite Tour unique track, which at the time of the video there was only 2, which was Ninja Hideaway and Merry Mountain, but from a personal bias perspective, it was just nice to see the course in HD. I think the graphical upgrades served the track very well, but besides visually, there's honestly not much to say. However, there is far more to say than in the original Tour version. They added so much more to do, so many more ramps, and I think it all just helped make the track more interesting overall. And of course, the track just simply plays better in 8 Deluxe. 8.5 out of 10. And the last course in Wave 3, 3DS Rainbow Road, which looks really good. A lot of the visual aspects surprised me a lot. I was very impressed. But I was disappointed to see that they removed a lot of little jumps and cuts in this course. They removed the cut at the start of lap 2 by making the gap a lot wider, and then they removed the cut indicator at the end of lap 3? Honestly, I'm not too sure how I feel about that because I always thought those were fun to pull off. They made the beginning section feel way better. I always hated doing this part in 7 because you had to keep drifting while at the same time going for tricks. Obviously, you could just not go for the tricks to make the turns easier, but you would lose a bit more speed along the way, which I thought was weird. But yeah, I feel like this track plays so much better than in 7. It feels a lot faster, more exciting to play on. So I'll give it up. This gets an 8 out of 10 from me. And that is all 8 of the courses in Wave 3 now ranked. Honestly, I really like this wave a lot. I think the pass is really starting to find its footing more. Wave 1 definitely felt like a demo, a test. Some of the track picks and visuals and ideas that they wanted to pull off there. And now they're doing a lot more things, they're adding more changes, they're adding a lot of gameplay stuff now. Like, they nerfed a lot of the top tier vehicles and combinations. They nerfed the shock. They made the blue shell disappear on the minimap for the DLC courses. I want to say that's a bug. I don't think that's intentional. And they let you pick whatever items you want to play in like VS mode and online rooms, which is really fun. I have a bunch of ideas that I want to show off in the friend room videos in the main channel, so this is where I segue into my main channel plug. Check that out. It's in the description. It's on the top right. And if you want to support the second channel as well, then you can subscribe down below. And while you're down there, let me know what your favorite course in the past was. And if it's Maple Treeway, I'm sorry for putting you through all that. I still think Wave 2 personally was the best one so far, but Wave 3 had its really high highs like Maple Treeway improvements and Peach Gardens, but personally also had some really low lows as well, like a lot of the shortcut and jump removals and the Berlin Byway OST. I'm looking at my notes right now, this is what I put as one of the negatives. So yeah, TLDR, Peach Garden's good, Maple Treeway has a lot of good changes, but is still missing just a couple things to redeem it in my eyes. Berlin Byways was neutered, and Nintendo hates shortcuts again. That's it for this episode of the Opinion Corner. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Take care.